So a honey trap dates back to just after the Cold War, where spies would use ladies to be able to trap, ensnare somebody that had information for them, or somebody that they believed could be valuable to them that they could extort at a later stage. So a honey trap would be set up where the mark would be perhaps in a place of entertainment like a bar. Gorgeous girl would come up to the chap, she would proposition him. What he wouldn't know is the room where they went to would be wired for sound, wired for cameras, and then they'd have him. He's either married and he gets extorted, or in some cases it was during the days when homosexuality was outlawed, and somebody who had a government position or worked in the intelligence services or the military or in some other important position but led a secret life as a gay person, be propositioned by another gay person in a gay club, and then be extorted, that they would be outed as being gay. So being honey trapped is an awful thing. The name doesn't sound bad, honey trapped. It actually sounds quite glib, it sounds quite nice, but it's a terrible thing. It's the use of sex to be able to get something out of somebody through means of extortion. So South Africa suffers at the moment from a massive increase in what we call sextortion. And a lot of the sextortion doesn't involve honey traps. It actually never involves the person meeting the person that's propositioning them via social media or on communication tools like WhatsApp or Signal or Telegram. Most of the time, the person that they purport to be isn't that person. And it's not just one case of one syndicate. There's a couple of these syndicates running around. And they do their homework exceptionally well. They target wealthy businessmen. They generally target them in clubs, restaurants, Friday afternoons. They know who's married. They know who perhaps after a couple of drinks could be propositioned, and they proposition them. And once again, they take them to a room, and that room is kitted out with lights and sound so that person can be extorted at a later stage, perhaps because they're married. But the most unique case we've come across was a long-term honey trap. It's somebody that really invested time and effort and is part of a greater syndicate. And the story goes along these lines. This young lady, obviously very, very attractive, went to work for a very successful company. One of the partners in that company, not married, so there wasn't a problem, fell for her. It became a bit obvious because she would hug him inappropriately during meetings, or on the Friday afternoon during drinks, she would squeeze his hand or pick him on the cheek. But what people didn't realize is this was being done deliberately. She wanted people to see that there was a relationship. Fast forward a couple of months, this chap that she was now in a relationship with, business partner, the partner in the business where she works, gets a call on the weekend from this young lady's family to say, we want to meet. It's very urgent that we meet. He finds it bizarre. It's a Saturday morning. What do they want to meet about? So he rushes out to meet with them, and they tell him that he's been running a business that condones sexual harassment, sexual intimidation, and in fact, his actions have resulted in what could only be called sexual assault on a huge scale. He says, what are you talking about? And they said, well, in your company, it's a well-known fact that your business partner has been having an affair with this girl. The fact is, though, she was never ever consenting. She felt forced into it because he held this position of authority within the business. Now, this company has a zero-tolerance stance on this type of thing. And the business partner did what he thought was in the best interests of his company. He suspended his business partner. He decided to take action against both of them for having this relationship at the business, bringing the business into disrepute, doing certain things that went against the company's code of conduct, the company's HR policy. The business partner subsequently left the business, and my understanding is this young lady got a package and she left the business. Everybody would think now it's all square. She's gone her way, he's gone his way, and he's done right by his business partner by ensuring that the company's HR policies were followed through to the nth degree. Not so. He gets hit with a summons. And in the summons, it basically states that he had allowed for this environment to fester where sexual abuse, sexual assault, sexual innuendo was prevalent at all times, and that it made it very difficult for people to work within this environment. The summons obviously is from this young lady, and it's as a result of the relationship that she had with this ex-business partner who's no longer involved in the business. Now, you would expect this to now follow the normal course. This case would now be enrolled in court, and everybody would have their say. There would be arguments on paper, there'd be oral arguments, and the courts could determine whether or not this was in fact an environment that had created the situation and that this young lady was entitled to damages. But within a week of the summons being received, strange things start happening. A man phones claiming to be a policeman, saying that the company and its directors are under investigation for rape. Suddenly, a media query arrives stating that, look, we're going into an environment where GBV is spoken about quite openly. We're going to run an article in a newspaper, and we're going to expose your company for being one of those companies that does nothing to prevent this from happening. Would you care to comment? Now, in my world, there's no such thing as coincidence. So who's the cop that phoned? Who's the journalist that sent through the media query? Are they in any way related to this young lady? So we start to investigate. And we find out that the policeman who phoned is actually this young lady's new employer. We now believe that he may have also been suckered and honey-trapped. We then find out that the journalist knew this new employer of hers. So we've now tied them up. We've now got this woman as a common denominator, the summons that's been issued, and now suddenly the police, who are not the police, are phoning, making allegations of rape, and the media are suddenly making queries. It's almost as if they want to force a quicker result. Forget the court case. You know what we've asked for in the court case. There's the amount. But let's not go to court. Let's not let the court decide. Rather, you settle, and the police are going to go away, the media queries are going away. It's all tacit. It's all implied, but not said outwardly. Now there's a concern here, because what's happening is illegal. This is extortion. This person that pretended to be a cop is impersonating a cop. He's not a cop. This journalist has got to abide by the ethics associated with the media. So you start looking a bit deeper. And now you want to know, what role did the lawyer play? So we contact the lawyer to say, listen, did you know that you've issued summons? All great. Being defended. It's going to go to court. But did you know that in the background, this is also happening? The lawyer acts so surprised, never had a clue that any of this was happening. The very next day, lo and behold, this investigator gets a cease and desist letter from another lawyer representing, wait for it, the woman, the person who phoned pretending to be the cop, and the other lawyer that had issued the summons. So I wrote back, thanks for closing the circle, because now we knew how they were all connected. And it just shows how this is sextortion, this is honey trap on steroids. And it's happening all the time. And people really need to be aware. And people need to really start thinking before they do things, because people out there, it's not like the old days where, you got away with something. These days, people will hound you. They will monetize any mistake you make to their benefit.